Walter Gerhard Martin Sommer was born in 1915 in Skelen, a town in Thuringia, Germany. Growing up in a rural family, it seemed likely that he would pursue a career in farming. However, in 1931, a young Martin took a different path by joining the Nazi Party, which ultimately shaped the course of his life. A few months after Hitler's rise to power, Martin became a member of the SS. In 1934, he caught the attention of Karl Koch, who recognized his potential. From that point forward, Sommer became a devoted employee of Koch, serving alongside him in various capacities and consistently meeting the expectations placed upon him. During his time in Buchenwald, Sommer held a position overseeing the camp prison. This role allowed him to impose severe punishments at the slightest pretext, further intensifying the already grim atmosphere of the facility. Instances that warranted entry into the bunker included smoking on the job, perceived laziness, or simply being of Jewish heritage. On a bitterly cold winter day, 3 prisoners sought warmth by briefly pausing in the boiler room while carrying coal. Sommer caught them in the act, leading to their confinement in the bunker, where tragically they lost their lives. Sommer exercised an alarming degree of authority within Buchenwald, which he used to satisfy sadistic tendencies. One of his favored methods involved binding prisoners' wrists behind their backs and suspending them in a manner that prevented their feet from touching the ground. This agonizing punishment took place outside the camp, in the adjacent forest. Prisoners were subjected to this tormenting ordeal, hanging from branches in excruciating positions that induced unbearable pain. Their agonized screams reverberated throughout the camp, effectively fulfilling Sommer's intent to instill terror. The duration of the hanging varied. Some prisoners endured this brutality for hours, while others suffered for days, dependent on the nature of their transgressions. Before you continue watching, subscribe to my channel and like it. Of course, this is optional, the main thing is to be sincere. Andreas Pfannenberger, a camp survivor who testified during the trial that addressed the atrocities committed in the camp, disclosed that Sommer administered this punishment to as many as 30 or 40 prisoners on a daily basis. Given the frequency of such occurrences, it's plausible that the majority of Buchenwald prisoners were subjected to similar torments. As Pfannenberger recounted, among the victims were elderly men of 65, who, despite their advanced age, cried out for their parents in their agony. Many were grandparents by then. Others pleaded for mercy in any way they could, turning to God or the Virgin Mary for solace. The scenes were truly horrifying. Pfannenberger continued with his shocking testimony. During that time, Sommer and his men strolled among them, finding amusement in the spectacle they were creating. Another prisoner, Willy Apel, also provided an account during the same trial. He shared that he had been subjected to a half-hour hanging punishment and then led to an appropriate tree. Apel described the torment he endured. The prisoner's wrists were bound behind his back and hoisted to a height of approximately 2 meters, rendering his feet unable to touch the ground. The entirety of his body weight bore down on his wrists. The forest resounded with cries of agony. Martin Sommer had a considerable number of individuals at his disposal, and he subjected them to various forms of torture without consequence. The majority of prisoners subjected to such torture eventually confessed to whatever the investigators sought. Nonetheless, there were those who endured the pain without uttering a word. In such instances, Sommer continued tormenting them through 3 daily sessions, withholding food and water. After enduring this, 2 possibilities hinged on Sommer's mood: the victim might be granted release with permission to return home or sentenced to death. If Sommer opted for the prisoner's demise, he could resort to lethal injection or provide poisoned food, which the famished prisoner would unwittingly consume. Should the prisoner possess the acumen to recognize the potential poisoning, the capricious Sommer not only released them but also offered tobacco as a parting gesture. Sommer's cruelty extended beyond extracting confessions. He indulged in indiscriminate and purposeless torture to satisfy his sadism. During winter, he sometimes deactivated heating and doused prisoners in their cells with frigid water, leading to instances of hypothermia-related fatalities. In other scenarios, he compelled prisoners to maintain a rigid stance in their cells from 5 in the morning until 10 at night. guards vigilantly monitored them, ready to rush into the cell and administer 25 lashes with a baton for even the slightest movement. Evidently, Sommer treated captives as subjects of sadistic entertainment. Numerous instances bear witness to this fact. On occasion, he unexpectedly organized pseudo-gymnastic exercises, forcing all prisoners to kneel and jump in the corridor. Those who succumbed to exhaustion were subjected to merciless beatings until their lives were tragically extinguished. In 1943, Martin Sommer faced arrest by the SS due to corruption charges. He received a sentence to serve in a penal company and was dispatched to the Eastern Front. Suffering severe injuries, he lost an arm and a leg. Captured by Soviet forces and confined to a prison camp, he regained his freedom only in 1955. After his release, he returned to West Germany, where he married, fathered a child, applied for and received a disability pension related to service. In 1957, his identity as a former sadistic guard at Buchenwald was established, leading to his arrest by a German court on charges of war crimes. The trial commenced on June 11, 1958, in Bayreuth, the city notable for hosting the annual Wagner Festival, which was attended by Hitler and other Nazi leaders. The accusations against Sommer centered on the mistreatment of prisoners at the Buchenwald concentration camp, specifically regarding the deaths of 25 individuals due to phenol injections administered between 1940 and 1942. The trial extended for over a year, concluding on July 3, 1958, when Sommer was found guilty of these heinous acts. The court handed down a life imprisonment sentence along with the revocation of civil rights. In 1971, Sommer was released from prison, as it was not possible to continue the treatment of his wounds received during the war. He was transferred to a hospital, and in 1973 to a nursing home, where he remained until his death in 1988. On April 11, 1945, American forces liberated the Buchenwald concentration camp situated near Weimar. This event unfolded a few days after the Nazis initiated the camp's evacuation. The liberation led to the release of over 20,000 prisoners. Furthermore, American troops freed inmates from other camps such as Dora-Mittelbau, Flossenburg, Dachau, and Mauthausen. This is where the video ends. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel and like it. I'll see you again.